We're doing it. Hi, camera.
Hi, camera.
If things don't go wrong, we have a visual recording of this podcast section.
Do we have to make eye contact? Does that mean we have to make eye contact the whole time?
We can look anywhere. People can see that we won't look at each other and whatever. Good. All right, so why are we here today? We did a demo.
We did a demo.
We're here at Rarefied Recording.
Yes.
San Diego, California.
San Diego, California.
And we're demoing this box down here.
What is that box, Ryan?
The Tonecraft Tube Direct box.
Yes. The model I think is the 363, and I know it's reviewing and demonstrating a direct box, a studio direct box built primarily for bass. Is not exactly what you guys are normally used to doing.
But, we usually do like pedals and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and guitars.
But I think this is a fantastic unit. I am head over heels in love with this unit.
It's really neat looking, that's for sure. And watching you play with it earlier, you definitely get a wide variety of sounds out of it.
Yeah, you do. I was loaned. John Erickson, the creator of this thing, loaned this to me so that I can track all the bass for my record at home, and I had the comfort of being able to do it from home. It's just good because I'm extremely meticulous when it comes to bass tracking. That way when I get to the guitar part, I can be a little looser. So absolutely. It took me like a whole month, which is nice that I got to get incredibly good tone in the comfort of my own home as opposed to spending all that time in the studio. No offense, Roy.
It's a beautiful studio.
This is the most beautiful studio I have ever worked at, especially like out here in Southern California between here, Orange County, and LA County. Yeah. I have not found a better studio.
It definitely doesn't suck to come in here and shoot footage.
No.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but I am a man on a budget, so I prefer to save that for the guitar. And what I was able to do with this Tonecraft is, first of all, get a wide variety of tones, which is what I wanted on the album, but also I have the ability to double the signal, and I can get a pure, clean bass signal that I can then send into the amp one day and get the full amp sound into the studio. What I love about this Tonecraft is that...
Pick it up if you want.
Absolutely. What I love about it, first of all, that
Twiddle
it's huge.
The knobs. Yeah.
And that it's so easy to use, and it's simple but versatile, if that makes any sense. I mean, I just want to go down the line and talk about the features. You have an input and an output, which is basically like your like any mic preamp would have. So you have your gain structure about how much signal you're driving into the machine, and then you have your output, how much signal you're driving into the tape. So it kind of works as a built-in compressor. And then you have a really simple and sweet EQ, which has a true bypass, and then you turn it on, and you have bass and treble. And the way these things react and play with each other, they actually work off each other in a way that if you, say, have the treble cranked to 3 o'clock, and then you start to crank the bass, the treble will actually back out a little bit. So you kind of have to play with these to get a good balance between the two of them. The other feature that I love about this thing is that there's a gain boost when you pull the switch out.
When you were playing earlier, I was seeing you click that in and out, and it was like, whoa, there's a secret little function there.
Yeah. And I'm not sure exactly like the dB level that it boosts it, but it will quickly get you to a point where you are either overdriving, or you can even like start like do a little fuzz.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
Yeah, I heard you trying to get like a little bit of like a Motorhead sound in there.
Yeah. And I certainly got some of that on my record, but I will be honest, I did have some trouble dialing it in because there were times when it would clip and I would get that tube.
Right.
I would drive the tube a little hot and it would just get clippy. So for me personally, I had a little hard time dialing the boost in. But it took me a while, and then eventually I found it. I found where to leave the main output so that it doesn't distort too much. The other thing I really like about this thing is that it's a big, giant, hand-built tube DI box, and I have used other modern-day tube DI boxes that claim to have a real tubey and vintage sound. Some of them just strike me as being tubey for the sake of being tubey.
Sure.
This, you don't have to, this is not obvious, this is more subtle, and this is more all about
about tone shaping.
It's about tone shaping, and it's about real pristine tone and tonal variety. And I've never used a better DI box in my life.
Yeah.
I mean, it is incredible.
Well, I remember when we recorded the Dinosaur Ghost album in here.
Yeah.
There was another tube DI box around. I don't know who made that one, but I think it was just a one knobber, right?
It was a one knobber. I don't know if we should name names.
We don't have to name names, but it's like obviously this thing's way more versatile than that thing was.
And that thing sounds okay,
right?
But that's exactly what I'm talking about. That like it's tubey for the sake of being tubey. You have
sure.
no other choice with it.
It's just there just to be a tube in your signal, where this is more, like I said, a tone shaping device. Like there's a lot of control there, a lot of options.
Yeah.
If you want to sound really tubey, then you can. If you don't want to sound tubey, then you can dial it back, and you can do all sorts of stuff to make you sound the way that you want to. Like I was really impressed with the variety of sounds you were getting out of this thing. I'm not a bass player, obviously, but you were dialing in just every classic sound I could imagine, basically. Like
I was trying anyway. My sorry excuse for bass playing. You'll notice I tried to get every basic genre and tone except for slap.
Yeah. Do you want to riff on slap bass a little bit? Are we gonna get controversial?
We might get controversial.
What's gonna happen if Flea hears this?
I just think that slap bass is like the Chapman stick of the bass world. It's just don't do it. It's enough already.
What about like little bits? What if you're playing the Seinfeld intro?
The Seinfeld intro wasn't even played on a bass. It was a keyboard.
Really?
Yeah, dude. That was a synth. It was a synth, like General MIDI slap bass sound with like the little bend wheel and stuff.
Right. I think
slap
the general
bass is it's like guitar shredders who can play a million miles a minute. All right. Enough. Already.
Maybe the general rule of thumb for guitar playing is that if there's a keyboard patch for it, then you shouldn't do it anymore.
Of course, I'm just saying that because I don't know how to slap. If I could slap bass, I'd be slapping the bass all the time, man.
The truth comes out.
But I did some fingering and some picking and some thumbing and we played a flat wound bass and round wound short scale bass. So
that flat wound sounded great.
Yeah, I really like that. That's also Ericsson's bass. That was a fun bass to play, and my bass is a 67 Gibson and. That thing really growls. And that's another thing is that, my bass has a very unique tone on one pickup, on the bridge pickup. It really has a high mid-range punch. It doesn't have a lot of low end. and it just growls and pretty much will overdrive any amp you put it through. This thing handled it on all my tracking very well.
Nice.
And I was able to add all the low end to that pickup that it normally doesn't have to make it sound full with this EQ. What else?
The thing is beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Like I would put this on my bookshelf at home,
and it lights up.
And I would leave it lit up and be like, "Oh, I used to have a clock there. Now I have the Tonecraft there because it looks better."
Yeah.
I'd run like my my TV audio through it, like my home entertainment system.
And you could do that. And actually, John sells these. Oh gosh, what are they called? The
little box thing?
That little box. What was that?
I can go grab it real quick.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
I'll be right back.
We're on hold here. Okay. Yes. Yeah, so
the Boost Mate.
He also makes these little Boost Mates, which are basically a mic to line converter. So you can take a microphone, which requires XLR cable, convert it to the proper output into a 1/4-inch cable, instrument cable. So you can essentially use the Tonecraft as a mic preamp and a tone shaper for your vocal mic, in a live setting.
Anything else.
Or anything else.
Anything else that uses a microphone plug there.
Yeah, and I have seen this used live and in studio, and it's used by a lot of well-known bass players, and it's still a rather new product and rather unknown. But one of my Davey Farrager, who's a bass player for Elvis Costello and the Imposters, one of my all-time favorite bass players.
Well, you're in a tribute band for Elvis Costello.
I am.
So that's why you know about this stuff.
That's why I know about this stuff. I have an odd connection to the Farragers. I know his brother, but that's another story altogether. Sure. I mean, it's getting out there, and I'm mighty proud. I'm mighty proud of John, and I'm mighty proud that this thing is built by hand with care and precision right here in San Diego, California.
We're gonna have some gut shots in the video too. It's really tidy in there.
Yeah,
really beautiful build. You got a couple tubes in there. They get all glowy on you. Everything's lined up in a hand built sort of way. It's not, it doesn't look like it's built by a robot or anything. It looks like it's built by a person.
Yeah,
it's just an all around attractive unit. Sounds great. Really a versatile piece of studio equipment or live equipment. Sounds like people take it live.
And you can split it live as well. You can give the front of house the direct signal from the Tonecraft, and then you can also send it into an amp. It has a perfect through. It's called a through, which is just the perfect clean signal, which is what I plan to do later today. I'm going to send my through signal that I recorded into the amp and get both sounds and blend them together.
Gotcha. Do you know how much these things run for?
These run for $1,300, I believe.
$1,300. So this is an upper level thing for most people compared to other things that we usually review. We're usually reviewing like $200 and $300 pedals.
Yeah.
This is a piece of equipment. You think of this as like a boutique amp, Exactly.
It's a tone machine, and the way I see it, it's an investment. With that kind of price and this kind of product, you're only going to need this one thing for the rest of your career.
Right.
Or the rest of your hobby days.
Exactly.
I mean, it doesn't have to be for pros only. Just because it's $1,300. I mean,
there's plenty of hobbyists out there who are spending big bucks on things just like this to do their home recordings, to do their live sound or whatever. But $1,300 for a pro scenario.
Yeah,
that doesn't sound like a lot of money to me.
It's really not. It's really not. It's.
I mean, I'm sure there's microphones in here that are worth way more than that.
Way more than that.
Yeah, and that's just a microphone. This is the thing that you run a bass into.
Which is essentially, I mean, it's a bass microphone. You can also run guitar into this or whatever you want.
Exactly. You can run a ukulele into that.
Yeah, it's versatile. You can run it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I think the first time I heard the price, I was like, "Whoa, that's more than I've ever spent on anything." But then when you start to think about it, about how these things get used, where they get used, and for what, it's like it totally makes sense. It's not it's not an astronomical number compared to other things that get bought within studio recording.
No, really,
home
it's really
or
not.
professional. It's
right,
and it's from what I've seen, it's completely useful.
Like, and the difference in just overall quality, build quality, and sound quality is, astronomically higher than anything that's a fraction of its price.
Oh, sure.
So you're while it's $1,300 and you can get some other DI boxes for $50, the quality to price ratio is
totally. Well, I like we were saying, it's not just a DI box. It's it's got full controls to do whatever you want. It's not just a thing you plug into to plug into another thing with a single knob to control the level of the tube. Like, this is a full tone shaping box here.
Yeah. Now, the only thing I might recommend John add in the future is some kind of kill switch, like a mute,
like a standby.
Yeah, standby or a mute, because I was in situations at home when I'm tracking in my house, and if I have to pull a cable out of my bass to tune it or to set it down for a second, I don't like the crackling sound because I know that's damaging to all the equipment, and I would constantly be turning the volume all the way down to 0, losing my settings. That would be the only recommendation that I would add something like that in the future.
I mean, something like that you could throw a pedal in between your lines and do it yourself. But yeah, if there was a simple standby switch on there, that would make it easier, and you wouldn't have to run an extra thing.
Yep.
Cool, man.
That's about all I have to say about that.
Well, this thing's really a neat thing. I'm stoked that you got to use it on your record.
Yeah.
I'm stoked that we got to do this video. Thanks for doing this with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's a really nice hometown unit.
Yeah.
Thank you.
See you guys later.
Bye.